Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for being patient with us. We had a couple of issues with the soundboard, but we got them all figured out. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the mariachi. First, we're going to be, as you know, on the program, we're very excited to feature Dr. Christopher Schmitt, who's coming down to us from Washington, D.C. We're very excited to have him here performing with the Lakeview Mariachi. He's a phenomenal pianist, and you guys are going to get to experience something very special tonight. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mariachi Los Caciques. Por favor. All right, I think we're all ready. Now we have our special guest. Can we please give a round of applause to Dr. Christopher Schmitt? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this first song that we're going to play for you is the anthem of all mariachi music, and we're happy here to be performing with Dr. Schmitt. I know that he gets to experience what it is to be able to play with the mariachi and to play the song that is recognized around the world as the anthem of mariachi. And of course, you guys know mariachi music is one of the most symbolic features of our culture, of the Hispanic and the Mexican culture. Anywhere you go in the world, you listen to mariachi music and they automatically associate you with Mexico and the beautiful culture that we have there. So we're very excited to have Dr. Schmitt join us with us today. So this is called El Son de la Negra. We hope you enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. That was El Son de la Negra with Dr. Schmitt. This next couple of pieces, we're going to feature Dr. Schmitt himself. Dr. Schmitt, I'm going to let one of our sponsors that has been here since we started this program back in 2015. I've been in contact with Mr. Mario Castillo, who has been a humongous part of what we do here at Lakeview and at Lincoln. So I'm gonna let him introduce our guest, Dr. Christopher Schmitt. He's gonna come up here and say a couple of words about him. Go ahead. Mr. Mario Castillo, can we give him a round of applause, please?
Tonight, my allergies. But I'm very emotional and very happy that we have some special guests here from the West Texas Boys Ranch. This is one of the young fellows, and I was trying to pass the time with him. So I asked him, why is the Mexican sombrero shaped the way it is? Patricia, why?
It's for the shading of the shoulders so that they don't get sunburned and so that they can work in the rain.
Okay. He's an incredible young man. From what little I know about him is everyone that's here from the ranch. Earlier today, we had the supreme pleasure and honor of listening to the mariachis and Dr. Schmitt play at the San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts. My colleague, Martha Biscuit, was there, Vicky, the STEM design was there, and some others were there. And I think Martha and Vicky can tell you that it was an incredible, incredible performance. It is equally important for me to be able to share with you the talents of a friend of mine, Dr. Christopher Schmitt. He lives in Washington, D.C. He's a United States Marine. He's a member of the President's Own, which is a very elite circle. This group of musicians, the Marines, played for two individuals, the Presidents of the United States and the Commandant of the Marines. Okay? So we're really honored, at least I am, and I feel sure you will be too after you listen to him play tonight, to have him here in San Angelo, Texas. Dr. Schmitt and the mariachis, our mariachis, have only had one rehearsal together, and you're going to see how good they are. And that speaks volumes to the quality, the talent of the mariachis, to Dr. Schmitt, Mr. Rosendo Ramos, the school board, and the superintendent of schools. And I can think of no better way to share our culture, those of us who are tied by blood and tongue with others who are not of the same origin than through music. And so I thought, let me bring Dr. Schmitt here. I hope you enjoy him. You're going to hear first-class classical music, and then you're also going to hear what I call Beethoven meets mariachi. All right.
Thank you so much for your kind welcome. It's been a joy to be in San Angelo. My first time here, and thank you, Mario, for making this all possible. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, excellent. So I'm going to first start with a piece of Beethoven that I think literally everyone here knows. It's the first movement of the Moonlight Sonata. It just has a very tranquil kind of motor running through the entire thing, but within that, there's a lot of changes of volume and of pacing that are subtle. They're small changes, but they can create an incredible emotional journey throughout this 4 minutes or so. But a big part of this endeavor is to have a cultural diplomacy of mixing together different types of music, because the origin of it, or rather the goal of it, is exactly the same, which is to express fundamental human emotions and fundamental human experiences that cannot be expressed in words or other ways. So, I mean, this music means different things to everyone, and yet often means the same thing to everyone in different ways, these paradoxes. So I'll start with this first movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. So the first thing we played was mariachi music with a classical pianist visiting, so to speak. Now we're going to play classical music with a mariachi musician visiting. So Isaac of the Mariachi Ensemble will join us to perform trumpet at a piece by Dmitri Shostakovich, who is a Russian composer who was totally terrorized by his regime in the 1900s. and he was told to compose music for the government in a certain way, and he didn't want to do that. So he had to find a way to have his own style, but if it were too different, he would literally have been killed. And he lived in total paranoia of his government for his entire life, and he suffered deeply from that emotionally. But he created incredible music, and this is a piece originally written for orchestra. It's his orchestral suite number 2, and there's a waltz inside. Again, originally for orchestra, so there's an arrangement that moves the piccolos and the flutes and the trumpets and the trombones and the basses and strings all into the piano. So it's quite challenging and quite fun to play. But we decided to have a trumpeter join us. So Isaac will play the main melody for this, and you'll notice that there's a mariachi flair that lends itself really well to this classical music. So I hope you enjoy this. It's Dmitri Shostakovich's Waltz. Thank you. So you can see how that just works really, really well. That was a piece that was requested by Mario Castillo, so you can see a little bit about his musical likes and dislikes. I mean, it's a wonderful piece. I didn't know it well, actually, until Mario recommended it, so I'm very glad. Thank you, Mario, for introducing me and everyone here to this Shostakovich piece. So I'll finish my portion of this by performing a bit of Franz Liszt. So he was a Hungarian pianist and composer who lived in the 19th century. And at the time of his life, he felt that the music wasn't difficult enough. So he decided to compose more difficult music to help his career as a touring concert pianist. He was arguably the very first touring concert pianist. This piece is called Mephisto Waltz. It's based on the character of Mephistopheles, who is the incarnation of the devil, from a German composer, Goethe's Faust. You already see a Hungarian composer writing about a German literature figure, and we're playing it here in Texas. So it's, this cross-culture is incredible. So it just follows the story of the devil incarnate seduction of this man Faust, trying to convince him to do evil things and to just not be a good person, even though Faust is inherently a good person. So it's kind of a morbid plot, and you'll hear all of this sort of devilry and yet enjoyment because he wants to make Faust convinced that this evil is the right way. So it actually has a kind of a fun spirit to it, but beneath it is this whole underpinning of literally demonic influence. So you'll hear a lot of sweetness in the middle section and a lot of sort of exuberance in the outer sections. And then towards the very end, you have one last plea where maybe Faust will be a good person, but you'll find out that, nah, he's just gonna go with the devil says anyway, so who knows. Hope you enjoy it. It's Franz Liszt's Mephisto Waltz. Thank you.
Dr. Christopher Schmitt, ladies and gentlemen. Please give him one more round of applause, please. Thank you, Dr. Schmitt. We're gonna now bring back the mariachi, and we're gonna play for you guys a song, a beautiful bolero called Sabor a Mi. Mariachi, can you come out and join us, please? Thank you. While the students are getting set up, with this song we got to perform last year to the help of Mario Castillo. We got to travel to Washington D.C. with 5 students, and we got to play this particular song in front of the ambassador from Spain at the ambassador's home, and right next to Mario's house. And it was one of the most amazing experiences for the students they got to see. It was one of the most beautiful things to be able to play. And in the middle, after performing Sabor a Mi, they were requesting songs like El Rey, and they knew those words. Those people that are from different countries, they knew that song, El Rey de José Alfredo Jiménez. And it was one of the most proud moments that I had as a Hispanic, as a Mexican American, for them to be able to ask for those songs. And we got to play it for them, and they were all singing along through the whole song. They knew all the words, and it was one of the most amazing things. And I'm glad the students got to experience that last year. So this song right here is gonna feature Mr. Cody Severe and Isaac Carrales playing for you Sabor a Mi with Dr. Schmitt.
mi lado. Muchos más, yo no sé si tengo la idea de guardar aquí. Quiero más sabor a mí. Sabor a mí.
That was Mr. Cody Sevier, Isaac Carales, and of course Dr. Schmitt on the piano. Can we give him one more round of applause, please? Thank you. All right, this next song we're gonna play for you is gonna feature Mr. Darren Anthony singing for you guys this beautiful, beautiful piece. This was made famous by several singers, but more notably Javier Solis. A beautiful, beautiful piece, a rendition, and a very, very powerful song if you listen to the lyrics. One of the most beautiful pieces that came to light to me through Mr. Mario Castillo as well. So this one is called Angelitos Negros, and this is gonna feature Mr. Darren Anthony singing for you.
Ha sido
a very powerful song and a great rendition by Darren Anthony. Let's give him one more round of applause, please. So we've come to the point, to the end of our concert. We're going to do another song. This one is going to be hopefully a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. We're going to call out Dr. Schmitt again. He's ready. He's ready. So this next song, we would like to dedicate it to all the servicemen and women that we have in our country. This is called Zacatecas. A little bit about Zacatecas. It's a march, and it was wanted to be used to be a part of several countries wanted to have this song be their national hymn, but gladly, it's a Mexican song that we get to keep to ourselves and be proud of. And you're gonna hear some awesome playing from Dr. Schmitt. And this is a song that was it took us a little bit of work, but we'll let Mario, you wanna talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
We'll let Mario. Can we give a round of applause to Mr. Mario Castillo, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks to him, a lot of this, we have Dr. Schmitt, but Mario has quite the story behind Marcha Zacatecas, so I'll let him share with me.
This marcha is very challenging. You're going to notice the cross currents throughout the song, and it was written during the period when Lázaro Cárdenas was president of Mexico, and there was the governor of Zacatecas decided to sponsor a contest to see who could write the most beautiful military march. And there was a fellow named Genaro Codina who was one of the participants. And I think the prize was a few gold coins. Anyway, so he wrote this march, never listened to it until some years later. And it became so popular, and the popularity of it spread beyond Zacatecas. It just spread around the world. So it spread to Italy when Benito Mussolini was dictator of Italy. And Benito, as the story goes, sent President Cárdenas a cable saying, "Dear Lázaro," more or less, I'd like to use your marcha in the Italian military parades. And remember, this was a precursor to World War II, okay? And Lázaro Cárdenas thankfully said, "No, thank you, you can't do it." Then Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia sent a formal letter to President Cárdenas and said, "Dear Mr. President, I'm deeply touched by your march, and I would like to adopt it as the national march of Ethiopia." Again, Mr. Cárdenas said, "No, thank you very much. It belongs to us, so keep your paws off." The only one that didn't pay attention to Mr. Cárdenas was Benito Mussolini. And I discovered this march, well, I heard it as a young kid when I used to go to school in Mexico, but I was watching an old newsreel about Benito Mussolini and fascism and all of that. And then I hear this march in the background, and I'm thinking to myself, so how did the Mexicans get to Italy, in World War II? And so I started poking around, and now you know the story. And wait till you hear this one.
Una más, ¿quieren otra? Listen to this. I didn't last that. We're gonna play an encore one more for you guys. This is called. We'll let you listen to this. This is one of the most popular mariachi songs we have. Hope you enjoy.
Llorar.
One round of applause, Mariachi Los Caciques and Dr. Christopher Schmitt. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and always thank you so much for the support you have for the North Side and for the mariachi here at Lakeview. I want to thank several people here that we have. We have Mr. Ramirez, our principal, who's back there. Can we give him a round of applause, please? And Mr. Padilla, our principal, is here today. We also have some Lakeview staff who came out to support the students, and thank you so much, staff, for coming out today. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. And I believe Dr. Detloff was able to make it out for a little bit today. Thank you, Dr. Detloff, for all the support always. Thank you so much. Y'all guys have a beautiful night, and thank you for coming out tonight.